Cinema 4D, like many other applications, requires you to tell the computer what it is you want to manipulate. So you have to know how to make selections. Now, there are a wide variety of tools that let us do just that. Now, I've created a cube that's already subdivided quite a bit. So we can talk about this menu here, the selection menu, as well as the selection modes, which we covered earlier. So I'll just go over this very quickly once again. This is our points mode. So with this, you're able to select the actual vertices or points on your object. All right. And you can hold down shift to grab more than one. This is our edges mode where we can click and grab an edge. All right. Double click to grab an edge loop. And this is polygons mode. All right. Double click to grab the entire object. You can click on polygons to select them. You can hold down the shift key to grab different polygons. All right. You can hit the control key on any selected polygon to deselect it. All right. So once again, we covered that already, but let's talk about the selection tools. I'm going to tear this off. Now there's a lot of them, so I'm going to go over the ones that I use most often. For example, select all, which is right here, deselect all, and something I use a lot in Cinema 4D. I'll go ahead and hold down shift to grab just a few of these guys here. Something called invert, which means it will deselect what's selected and grab the rest, which is right here. Very handy when you want to create windows in a building, for example. All right. Now, you can also choose grow selection and shrink selection. Now, let me show you what this does. I'll go ahead and hold down the shift key and grab a couple of these guys here. And I'll click grow selection a couple of times, and it will grab more based on what you initially selected. And likewise, I can shrink that selection. Something else very handy to do is hiding objects sometimes. So I can hide selected so I can get in and work on some other parts. Let's say you're working on an engine or you're working on something that you really need to focus on and you want to hide things to really get those out of your way. You can also hide unselected. I can unhide all right? And I can invert the visibility. Now, something else that is very handy to use are these guys here. And these change depending on what mode you're in. So I'm currently in polygons mode. So I'm going to choose loop selection. And my cursor will give me a preview as to what loop I'll select when I click. I'll hold down shift and I'll click on this loop, shift again, and I can grab in different directions as well. Once again, I can choose to hide those. I'll unhide them, and so on. You also have ring selection. And one of the interesting ones here is fill selection. So watch this. I'll go ahead and choose, let's say, from this point on. All right, so I'm going to just click right there. And fill is going to take this border and fill the rest, depending on where you click. So fill selection, click over here or over here, and it will fill in those objects. So that's a nice way to grab a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to go ahead now and hit my tab key to deselect those. And let's focus on the tools we see up here. All right. And of course, you can see them here as well in the same menu we just tore off. This guy here is our live selection, which means we can click and drag to pretty much paint the selection we want. I'll go ahead and deselect it by clicking. We have rectangle selection, which gives you the ability to draw a marquee and let go and grab whatever's in the marquee. I also have the ability to choose lasso, and I can draw a lasso, which could be a very interesting shape, and grab what's in there. And polygon selection. Now, polygon selection is interesting because you can click, move your mouse, and you get this line that follows along. It's like the polygonal lasso in Photoshop. Click again, click, 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 and you can create all kinds of interesting shapes. And all you have to do is kind of just go to the very beginning of your drawing and click again to grab that selection. All right. So you can grab some weird shapes that way. And that is a look at some of the many, many selection tools that you have available to you.